normally parents feel suicidal ideas and behaviors are usually seen in adults because adults have so much stress. And children, do they have stress? Well, yes. All of us experience different kinds of stress in our lifetime. And children are also not averse to suicide. The youngest patient which I saw was a 10-year-old girl who wanted to die because her parents used to fight every day. And her mother would repeatedly tell her, if it was not for you, I would have left this man. And the poor girl kept on feeling so guilty that she was responsible for probably her parents' fight and her mother's distress. So she consumed phenyl to die. She used phenyl because she had heard about someone do the same in the neighborhood. And that's how she got the idea. Of course, what is phenyl and what it will do, she did not have any inkling to that. But the guilt in her was so much. So, yes, children may not be telling you, may not be expressing, but they definitely feel. I do get a lot of adolescents who are brought to me by parents because parents say they're not listening to us. They're very angry, they're abusive, they're very demanding, and they just don't listen. Now, this is there in every household. The moment the child becomes an adolescent and a teenager, he's on a different track. And when I ask the children to elaborate. See, your parents are giving this complaint. I would like to listen to you and find out from you. The first thing they say is, my mother has complaints about everything I do. She does not like the way I dress, the way I talk. She does not like my friends. She's always, you're on the phone only, you're not studying. The focus is only studying, and you should have good friends. You should not be in bad company. And they say that these people we mingle with are not bad, they are not criminals, they have not committed murders, or they have not robbed anyone. And why are my parents continuously harboring that you should hang out with good people? So parents mean good people mane the studious type, people who are just interested in studying and academics and not interested in doing any other thing. Because the child says, my parent keeps on telling me, I'm spending so much on your education or your tuition, and you have to understand that, and you just can't be on the mobile. So, most of these children often feel that parents don't trust them. So, they don't prefer to talk to parents or share anything with them. Parents are very over anxious about their children. And though they say they don't pressurize them to study, just that happens. Many parents criticize the children day in and day out, and sometimes it becomes very difficult for the child to deal with it. They criticize on how much they're sleeping, how long they are sleeping, what time they get up, what time they are taking their bath, their eating habits. They also body shame them in the sense that look how fat you've become, look how your face is looking, what are you eating? You're eating rubbish junk food every now and then. But you are, the way you look now, nobody will, want to be friends with you, or nobody, or even if we have to take you out with us, what kind of a figure you've developed. Now, all these body shaming things obviously are going to hurt the child. Now, imagine if the roles were reversed and somebody tells me day in and day out, बहुत मोटी दिख रही है यार, चेहरा देख कैसा दिख रहा है, कितने काले धब्बे हैं, बाल नहीं बनाए हैं. I'm going to get angry. Now, parents do it because they feel they are, of course, doing it for the best interest of the child, and they want the child to become good and smart and all those things, but the way or the manner in which it is done is wrong. We can do constructive criticism, but how much to criticize and when to criticize, these are the things which parents have to learn. You have to be tactful, and you cannot keep on badgering the child. Now, a child who keeps on getting these taunts day in and day out, if he doesn't, care about them and he just lets it go, good for the child because he doesn't let it affect him. But on the contrary, there are several children who are very sensitive. They feel very bad and they hurt inside. And then these children may back answer. They may get angry, they may throw tantrum, they are not able to shout at the parent, so they displace it on objects. They may throw the mobile, they may throw things, they may bang the door, or they may hurt themselves. So I've had teenagers who, stayed on the roads. They just walked out of the house in the evening, not gone to the house till the next day, spending, just going and sitting in some garden or just sitting under the bridge, under the flyovers. So difficult and so dangerous. And the parents are very hyper, trying to make police complaints. But there's so much of this emotional turmoil which the teenagers can't cope up with. And what you see is then, yes, a lot of angry behavior. Now, this angry behavior may sometimes be turned inwards on self, and they will indulge in self-harm. Now, this indulging in self-harm would be, I've got a lot of teenagers who do cutting of their body. They will cut their arms, they will cut their forearms, thighs, abdomen, wherever accessible and ease, they have the ease to cut their bodies. Most of them say when they cut themselves, they feel better. It's a release of probably all that pent up aggression, and they don't feel the pain. So these actually would go as non-suicidal behaviors because it is a behavior to self-harm, but not with the intention to die or kill oneself. And this often happens when the patient is angry or unable to control the urge. They also do it because they find it difficult to express. They themselves cannot understand their emotional feeling or what they are going through or their thoughts. They do tell you that, I have a lot of mood fluctuations. I just want to cry. I just want to weep. I feel lonely, dejected. Nobody's there. And at times it becomes difficult for even a doctor to judge whether it is suicidal or non-suicidal, because anytime the non-suicidal act can become suicidal. So you will have teenagers who, repeatedly bang their heads, maybe punch the walls. They have a lot of bruises on their, hands, forehead, etc. And girls have been, more prone to these non-suicidal acts. So just to elaborate, I will tell you about a 19-year-old girl who was, out of state. She was in a college doing a professional career course. And one night, her parents get a call from the hostel warden that your daughter has been, daughter was trying to attempt suicide by trying to jump from the hostel balcony. So please come and take her. So the reason was, yes, a broken love affair, which is very common again in this age group, because uh, they want to have positive emotions. They really fall in love, in and out of love very often. So there was this boyfriend, and the boyfriend had told her that, I'm sorry now, I don't want to speak to you and I don't want to do anything with you. So please don't message me and don't call me. The girl felt extremely rejected. And the next thing that comes to her mind is, it is better to die. So it's like this, either have it or I don't want anything. So there is nothing in between. So the parents, of course, got her back and, trying to talk to her that, fine, it's okay, you will have another boyfriend, sometime in future, etc. Of course, she was very much in love with this boy, and she was like, no, I don't want to give up on him. So on coming home, she would repeatedly indulge in self-cutting. The parents, of course, were scared for her, so they were keeping a continuous watch on her. And when she was, got to me, she said that, I feel I'm in jail. I'm being continuously watched over. Every small thing. I'm going to the washroom also. My mother comes outside and stands the door. And I don't have any kind of privacy. So she started getting more angry. She felt angry towards her parents. She felt angry that they are not allowing her to do what she wants. Or, like she said, I want to go for a walk. The mother said, no, now no need to go. You walk in the house. She said, everything like this, it is not possible. How they don't understand. So the anger which she had, and to, along with it, yes, the lockdown and the pandemic and all, so she had to stay indoors, and her turmoil increased. Her parents were not even aware, but she was regularly cutting her body. So at least twice or thrice a week. So by the time, if I see her 1 week down the line, I see there are cuts all over, new cuts, old cuts, some cuts healing. All of this was hidden from the parents because she used to always be in track pants and wearing full sleeves. So nobody knew. And because most of these cutting injuries are not very deep, they are non suicidal, as I told you. So most of them, they do not feel any kind of pain. They may have bleeding and all that, but they just generally let it be like that. It just heals like that, scabs form. So many times parents don't know that the child is doing this kind of behavior, and parents don't have this kind of a connect with the child, or can't open up with the child, or they don't sit with the child just to understand what is going on in the child's mind. So when you have these kind of behaviors, actually it would be an underlying personality issue. The personality is just being formed as you're a teenager and adolescent. And by 18, we do have a personality type. So these are the types in which you may see certain kinds of behaviors. So it is very important for the parent, if the parent finds these kind of behaviors, to take the child and talk to an expert, or trying to, we do testing on the child, we do try to find out the traits, we do talk to them, counselors do talk to them, try to understand what is going on in their mind, what kinds of thoughts, ideas are repeatedly coming, and yes, help them deal with the situation and cope with it. Because adolescents can have several issues. There will be hormonal issues, they may be going through identity crisis, there will be peer pressure, the need to be accepted by society and friends at large, body image problems, self-esteem, self-confidence, making career choices. And yes, in the younger children, you may have something like bullying, which is very common, which very commonly happens in schools and colleges. People make fun of you, and you are asked to deal with it as you would deal with others. And a child or an older child does not know how to deal with bullying. It is like what we have in professional colleges, an anti-ragging committee, which should actually be there in every school, an anti-bullying committee. And yes, it is considered a serious offense. So one should try to understand from one's child, if a child has been bullied, that has to be reported to the school authorities or the college authorities and should not be taken lying down. So for all this, what is important is, yes, the parent-child communication. It is based on trust and understanding the child. The parent has to understand the child's expectations. And yes, what a parent can do to help the child discover himself or herself. In cases where there are serious behavior or emotional problems, yes, a psychiatrist or a counselor should be shown.